Hey, I'm FriendlyBaron and welcome to episode 10 of my series Casual VS Speedrun in GTA 5. After finishing the last mission, the game forces you to load into playing with Chop as Franklin. However, thanks to the glitch last episode of killing the character after the mission failed screen comes up, the speedrun is instantly teleported to the hospital in the middle of the city, close to where we needed to go for the next mission. The speedrun can instantly run to get a car, while the casual will get into his car and drive all the way over. It's beneficial to use this glitch here, as dying within a mission is about 3 or 4 seconds faster, since you skip the countdown for respawn by spamming the button like in GTA Online, and also skips the cutscene of playing with Chop before gaining control of the character. The speedrun pulls out the SMG and breaks a window to prepare the shoot out of it later in the mission. Also, you may have noticed Chop glitching out before getting into the car on the casual screen. It happened both times I recorded, so it stays in because this game is whack. This mission is another car retrieval mission by Franklin for Devin Weston. The idea is that you steal the James Bond-inspired car from the movie studio, then take it over to the garage for storage. We'll watch the casual first. He takes the call from Molly with instructions to get the car. The game implies that you jump over this gate to get past the guards, then go over to the actor and punch him to play a small cutscene where Franklin steals his clothes so he can blend in. Franklin can then walk straight up to the car and drive away. Once the actress in the passenger seat realizes what's going on, she starts grabbing the steering wheel, which causes the car to randomly turn to the side. As that happens, studio security catches up and must be taken out while still having the steering wheel pulled now and then. Once they are gone, the player is prompted to check what the red button does, which is an ejection seat to get rid of the passenger. Now for the speedrun, you are forced out of the car to start the mission, but he just gets right back in and drives into the studio. We drive past all the guards until next to the car, then kill the 3 on set as they have a chance to actually kill us if not taken out. By shooting, all the other NPCs, including the actress in the car who would mess with our steering, are scared off. Once safe, we get into the car and will head out of the studio. The speedrun heads right down the steps to avoid more guards. This is personal preference, and some runners will drive back out east to the lot. It is about the same speed, but I had some bad luck with dying to the extra guards in that direction, so I head right instead. The 2 security members in cars will spawn in consistent locations and can be easily killed, then we'll throw down a C4. Once the phone call from Molly is hung up, the speedrun blows up the priceless vehicle. The game expects that by the time a casual player finishes killing the guards, getting the actress out of the car, and finishes the phone call, that they would be much closer to the garage. This means there is a checkpoint in the area that can be abused by dying and teleporting us closer to the mission endpoint, meaning the speedrun only has a short drive left. The speedrun did a mid-drive when respawning as well. I promise a video about them and how they work within the speedrun eventually. The speedrun takes a shortcut onto the road of the garage, and that's basically the end of the mission after hitting the garage door to get it opening quickly. While they finish up, I need to issue a small correction about last episode. I said that the police bike is faster to lean forward than wheelie, which is not quite right. It's the same top speed when leaning forward or pulling backwards. However, it actually accelerates faster when pulling back, even if not fully doing a wheelie. The traffic while on the police bike is also scripted, not just the initial race against the AI. That's the end of the very quick mission deep inside, with the speedrun taking just over 2 minutes, almost exactly half the time of the casual thanks to the hospital teleport, quickly getting into the car via shootout, and using a death warp to the checkpoint across the city. Minor Turbulence is next, and both players are looking for a car. The casual gets lucky to get a nice for this part of the map sports car right away, while the speedrun has to run a bit farther for an average sedan, though a spawn at this intersection is at least pretty consistent in every run. The speedrun gets the cops for stealing a vehicle in this area, as there is usually a security guard near the parking lot, but that's fine. The roads are wide for the drive to Michael's house, so the cops won't cause any real blockage. There's a bonus as well. When the player has the cops on them, the gate to entering Michael's house will be open already when you arrive. It only saves a second or 2 of not having to lose speed to wait for it to open, but every little bit helps. Eventually in the speedrun, we'll probably route out ways to always have the cops on us just before getting to Michael's house outside of a mission. I should also mention, if it's not been made clear before, but you can start a mission while having a wanted level freely. Only once in a mission does having cops prevent progress. The casual was mostly on pace with the speedrun up to here thanks to the faster sports car. Only after the series of turns and some brake boosts does the speedrun really pull away. In this mission, even though it's started by Franklin arriving to Michael's house to learn what Michael and Trevor have been up to, you play only as Trevor and will be momentarily stealing a cargo jet after chasing it down in a smaller plane. The speedrunner can drive right in with the gate open and drive up to the dot to start the mission, while the casual is kind enough to not smash straight into Michael's house. The speedrun takes the same shortcut on the edge of the lake as back in Mission 16, Trevor Phillips Industries, while the casual will follow the roads with only minor excursions as they are still learning the map. The speedrun then turns off early and takes a line straight towards the hangar. The speedrun will park with the car basically halfway alongside the opening of the hangar, as by blocking the door and the player being blocked by Ron in the passenger seat, the game will teleport you out directly into the hangar to head into the plane. The casual takes the long way into the airfield and makes a costly parking mistake that partially blocks the plane in, which takes them ages to get out of. The speedrun takes off right away, and instead of flying straight towards the cargo plane like the casual, they will take a shorter route that stays just barely in the range of the big plane. Similar to when driving in cars, the cargo plane will rubber band, so it slows down when we are far away and speeds up when close, so the speedrun can stay close to force it to fly faster. The close route is basically as far away to the inside of the large sweeping turn the game allows before failing. The speedrun has points on the hills, like little mounds, bushes, or trees that are used as reference points to know where to fly and stay over on the ideal path. The game warns you not to go too high or the jets will shoot down, but there is about a 15-second grace period before that happens, so the speedrun can continually get the warning between the dips in the mountain, then reset that timer when the land raises up again. The casual is simply flying low right behind the plane, following it along the normal path. I've made the casual not be a terrible pilot for the sake of this video series. A single death when in a flying section can mean minutes of time loss, and it really screws up the comparison. The speedrun is close to the point where the game allows you to gain altitude and catch up to the cargo plane. But thanks to the mountain, the speedrun is actually above the other plane right now while still technically being close to the ground. They will drop some altitude to gain speed and begin to come across towards the cargo plane, and be able to slot in just behind it. This part is crucial, as if you head over to the plane too early, it spawns the jets that shoot you down, and too late means lots of time spent having to catch up to the big jet. As soon as the game progresses to the next part of the mission, the speedrun only needs a moment to catch up to the plane and fly right in, while the casual has to spend nearly a whole minute catching up to the jumbo jet. The AI shooting at the biplane is set to not kill you, but it does have a chance to do so if either player gets super unlucky. The in-plane shootout begins, and the speedrun takes out all the hostiles up the center of the plane. All the enemies on the right will be thrown down by the cargo falling out, and just a few stragglers need to also be taken down before heading up the ladder to get the pilot. The casual takes their time using cover to push up to the front of the plane. Once in control of the jet, the speedrun makes a quick turnaround and heads back to Sandy Shores, as this will force the mission to progress as soon as possible. The speedrun drops altitude to gain speed and then sits just above the 900-foot speed barrier to go as fast as possible. They wiggle back and forth as it kind of confuses the AI fighter jets following, which keeps them from getting above the speedrun and playing a short cutscene, as well as reducing risk of them getting too close and flying into the plane to destroy it, which can happen if again very unlucky. The casual has taken the game's suggestion to fly high over the jets, but this actually does nothing except slow you down as the plane gains altitude. As soon as the jets are about to fire the missiles, the speedrun gains altitude as it no longer matters how fast they are going, and pulling up and slowing makes the missiles hit the jet sooner. The speedrun then spams the Y button to get out of the plane to avoid any extra dialogue from plane before they are put into the cargo hold to escape the doomed plane. The boxes that fly past the speedrun have a small chance that will push them along, but it's inconsistent. The casual takes the bait to drive the jeep out of the cargo hold. It is slower than just running out since it falls slower than pushing forward to fall faster once out of the jet. Notice the speedrun is very high up again. The jet is teleported to the same spot every time it is jumped out of, even if you were very high or low before getting shot at. The speedrun will be parachuting directly towards the next mission, while the casual will eventually jump out of the jeep and parachute down to just the general center of town. The speedrun shoots this family and their dog, and then shoots the fence behind Trevor's meth lab right before the mission pass screen comes up. There's a reason for all of that, I swear. By shooting down the fence, it provides the quickest way into the next mission. We can't land from the parachute on the other side of the fence because we'd be too close for the next mission to spawn in. The dog must be killed as it becomes aggressive when we blow up the fence. We could simply use a rifle on him or something, but that would delay receiving the phone call from Ron after this mission, which is not ideal. So the dog must die to protect ourselves. I will put a video in the description of me learning the hard way that dog needs killed, and it can really mess with you if left alive. Anyways, that's the end of Minor Turbulence, and thanks to driving shortcuts, a faster shootout, and the much faster short route when flying alongside the mountains, the speedrun finishes in just under 10 minutes, 4 minutes faster than the casual. Mission 38 is Paleto Score setup. The speedrun waits for a call from Ron, which then spawns in the next mission. The speedrun can run through the hole in the fence up the back steps directly to start it. the casual has to steal a car and head over a ways before they can properly begin. The speedrun is in first person for faster running, especially up the stairs, then switch to the third person once inside to be able to jump to the start trigger. In this mission, we'll be heading up to Paleto Bay to scout out a bank for a heist with Lester's help. Once the mission begins, the player is set as Michael. The speedrun will run around the outside of the building to get to the car faster so that Trevor will run as fast as possible to keep up with us, and back up towards the door to get him in faster. Leaving the door open is not faster. Trevor does the animation of opening it up either way, so it's better to back up just that small amount. The GPS the casual follows says to head east, but the speedrun will go right and west to be taking a better line on the rails up north. Once the speedrun makes it to the rails, they literally ride the rails. It's fastest to actually balance the car on the track, as hitting the dirt at all slows down the car a bunch. It's a very tough skill to master, and more of a thing about doing it as well as you can, and recovering from any time you go off quickly but smoothly. There is no danger of the train in this section. It travels the same direction the speedrun is traveling, and always spawns in behind the player here, back near the airfield and sandy shores. Once near the town, the speedrun drifts right then cuts left to jump off the ledge, narrowly missing the deer that are always spawned in below, and heading straight through to the second road in Paleto where the next mission progresses. The casual has gone all the way around the northeast side of the map on the highway, and is just now arriving into town even with the fast forwarding. There is a time of day change while Michael and Trevor wait for Lester to arrive by bus. Once he gets there, we'll be scouting out the bank finally. The speedrun will pull a J-turn to get headed that direction, while the casual pulls a simple U-turn. Confirm that J is a better letter than U. The casual is instructed to go to the front of the bank and sees a cutscene and some dialogue before heading around the back. The speedrun will go directly to the side of the bank and use the gun from the car to trigger the alarm, then drive from there straight to the point used to watch the cop response. The shot onto the alarm has a pretty narrow view from here, and you really need to know where the alarm is to pull the shot off, as it doesn't fully spawn in from this distance. The speedrun pulls up to the gas station to begin waiting for the cops, while the casual gets more voice lines and then can finally shoot the alarm themselves. A motorcycle pulls up next to the speedrun, and they put Trevor's door next to it so they can get onto it quickly once the waiting here is done. This wait is the other good bathroom break during this run, though it's much shorter than Eye in the Sky. If you are new to this series or something, there's a link to all my other videos in the description, and if you like those, a subscription to my YouTube channel really helps, especially if you watch my videos off recommended anyways. If you aren't gonna sub or already are subscribed, then spend that time getting hydrated with proper water. Don't drink out of a lake or the toilet. The intel has been gathered on the Paleto police, and Trevor gets out of the car onto the bike. The speedrun can instantly switch to him since he's able to get on so fast, but the casual has to wait for him to get to the bike. You can switch to Trevor earlier, even for the speedrun, but that interrupts his movement, so the speedrun switches while the animation of getting onto the motorcycle is already playing. The speedrun heads directly back to the rails, again just barely missing the deer. The train always spawns in just about this location as soon as you begin driving back and get close enough to the rails. However, there's always enough time to jump up before it passes. An early train like this one is ideal as it means you can get situated onto the rails quickly instead of having to get off them somewhere in the tunnel. There is no worry of a second train, as they only spawn every 2 minutes, and the speedrun will be back on the road by then. The speedrun is still riding on the rail with the bike to stay off the dirt to keep their speed up, as the casual follows the GPS again, which this time leads them through the roads below Chiliad back to sandy shores. The speedrun will jump off the train tracks back to the road, then it's a simple drive back to Trevor's lab. The speedrun saves about 10 seconds each time for riding on the rails, compared to sitting in the dirt both directions. Back at Trevor's base, the speedrun picks the option for the Paleto heist, which is just the one extra gunman. They pick the default best option, and our casual will too. The only difference is that the slightly unskilled options make is that they die during the shootout in Paleto, and their money bag needs picked up. And if they die, a couple extra guys spawn in at the end of the heist. That's the end of the Paleto Score setup, and the speedrun finishes in just under 8 minutes, over 3 minutes faster than the casual's 11.5 minutes, thanks to starting the mission faster from the parachuting, the better route to and from Paleto on the rails, and triggering the alarm quicker. To begin the next mission, Predator, Franklin calls Trevor to alert him that some people are out looking for him. Switching to Franklin immediately begins the mission. In this mission, we'll chase down the rest of the O'Neill brothers that were blown up back in Crystal Maze by Trevor, using Franklin on foot and Trevor and Michael in a helicopter. But first, Franklin is chasing them down on the road himself. The drive here is pretty simple. The speedrun can get a single set of curb boost over this medium, but that's about it. Then once on the dirt road, the speedrun uses the power in the corners to keep the car extra planted on the ground. The car we are chasing does rubber band, but there's no opportunities for shortcuts or getting in front of it that have us boost the speedrun. The speedrun goes left at the fork to trigger the cutscene just a moment quicker. Once on foot searching for the guys that were in the car, the speedrun will run left down the hill, and instead of listening to the phone call or searching with Chop, they just hang up on Trevor 3 times, which forces the switch to him instead of waiting longer to do so. The speedrun will brake boost over the train tracks, then park next to the chopper so that Trevor's door is directly next to the helicopter's pilot seat, and Michael runs around the vehicles and gets in just as we begin the takeoff. The Casual finished the phone call with Trevor and is also getting into the helicopter. For this flight, the speedrun will not go directly to the yellow checkpoint. They will hold forward most of the time instead of rising over the mountains, and the increase in straight line speed is faster than the time saved by the direct path, making use of the gap in the left side of that bridge. Once both have arrived at the checkpoint, they need to snipe the O'Neill brothers on the ground. The speedrun knows exactly which two to shoot, then where to look to make the RPG be fired. The Casual sees Bigfoot, then takes some time to search for the correct enemies to take out. The intention now is that Chop and Franklin go together to hunt down the last guy, as the Casual does now. However, the speedrun just run jumps up the hill to the right, which gives a small window where the last enemy is visible to snipe before he runs behind the trees, and that satisfies the objective anyways. The players switch back to Trevor to go pick up Franklin and Chop, who have magically moved to the other side of the river where the game expects them to be. This pickup can be quite glitchy. If the speedrun is unlucky or parks the heli too close to Franklin, Chop might get stuck on Franklin and get locked up, and the speedrun has to die in order to try to not bug out again. Both players head back to Trevor's airfield to finish the mission, and the speedrun does a sliding landing into the yellow dot, then brings up the phone before the mission pass screen comes up to clear out any text messages so the phone is cleared for the next mission. The Casual takes 7.5 minutes, and the speedrun 2 minutes faster thanks to skipping the phone call, faster flying, and knowing where exactly the enemies that need shooting are located. Amazingly, this means the speedrun did this mission 2 minutes and 6 seconds faster than the Casual, and has overall now played for 2 hours and 6 minutes less than the Casual.